Gwen, is it fair to say resume is to pass the first screening stage to get an interview? Yes. Once you get an interview, your resume doesn't have much power. No. Actually, it sounds a little odd, okay? But let me be really clear. If on my resume, it says I manage the customer service team, that doesn't really tell me a whole lot. And so if you are fortunate enough to get an interview, I'm going to have to ask you a bunch of questions about what you do, and I'm likely going to ask you generic questions like tell me about a time when. If, however, you've written your bullets, you've highlighted the goals and the accomplishments that you've attained, how you've done that, I'm going to be so enticed that I'm going to want to talk specifically about that. So let me go back to something I showed you before. When I said to you, these highlights, if I put this on my resume, I guarantee you 100% probability, no variation, that an interviewer will ask you how you did that. And what is the difference between a what and a how? So if you say, I ran the customer service team, I'm going to have to say, what? How? Tell me about a time when. Tell me a what. If you say, I improved customer service by implementing a system that did this, that, and the other thing, I'm going to say, how did you do that? You want me in an interview to ask you, how did you do that? Why? Because now you're going to regale me with that awesome accomplishment that you know I care about, which is a leading indicator of what you're going to need to do in the new job, versus I'm asking you other questions to try to get clarification on what you do, what actually happened as a result of what you do. Then I have to determine if I even care about that. And now you're burning minutes in your interview and you're not selling yourself. You're answering clarifying questions, or worse, you're answering silly behavioral interview questions that have nothing to do with how you're going to perform in the job. The other thing is when you construct, okay, let's see, it's Thursday. On Monday or two, I've had so many coaching sessions the last 3 days. I had like 3 or 4 a day, every day. And then I think it was Tuesday, I had 3 in a row, 3 women in a row, and all different types of individuals. And to every single one of them, all 3 of them asked me, Andy, I get this, tell me about a time when you failed question. To which they say, I get nervous and I'm not sure and this and that. I'm like, hold on. Okay, number one, it's a dumb question, but that's okay because we can't control that, right? I can only control your preparation or influence your preparation, not the questions you're going to ask you. So then I said to each one of them, I asked the same question. Do you usually get that question after they ask you about a raging success or a strength? Every single one of them said yes, because that stands to reason. Tell me about a success. Tell me about a failure. Much of the time, that's the sequence. Okay, now you saw the job description and you saw the breakdown and you saw how somebody can prepare for that. Okay, I'm going to go into the interview. If they ask me, Andy, can you tell me about a challenge you overcame? Andy, can you tell me about a raging success? Andy, could you tell me how you did that project? Andy, can you tell me how you built the this and that? They're getting the same exact story. Any question they ask me, I'm going to my bread and butter question that aligns to what they need me to do, and I'm going to tell them that, and I'm going to give it to them in full. Then they're going to say, and if they say, tell me about a great outcome, a huge success, you're getting that story, number one. And then when they say, Andy, tell me about a time you failed, I'm going to say, you know that story I just told you that was so awesome that already makes you want to hire me, but you asked me this question as a matter of formality anyway? Right. Well, there was this step inside that project where when I hit this, we actually hit a big snag. That's the story you tell. It's not just when you tell the story, it's which failure you choose in the context of the greater success. It always happens that way. So what you're doing is you're now talking about something that they know ended well. You overcome it, obviously, because you brought it up inside a success story, and so on. So when we were prepping for their interviews, we gave them their backbone story, I call it, And then we gave them the pick of the failure. We gave them the pick of the obstacles. We gave them the pick of the whatevers. We gave them the pick of the disagreement. Like everything comes out of the same tree. It's just a different leaf. Okay, so you're not trying to, many of you are trying to figure out how to answer individual interview questions. That does not win you the job. Figuring out how to sell yourself according to what they need wins you the job. You then pick the story from that and nothing else. So when you talk about, Gwen, this is a great question, because when you talk about does the resume set you up, this bullet, this story is on the resume and it's probably up top. I could be 90% sure they're going to ask me about it. And then everything's going to fall out from there. And my prep becomes expedited and everything else makes more sense to them. So that's a great question. Resume doesn't just get you an interview, it sets the table for the how, not the what. That's a great question.